headline crossed my desk recently that honestly made my stomach drop. It said, "The 4 worst ages to retire, hands down." And right at the top, in bold, it declared that age 64 is statistically the worst age to claim Social Security. Now, if you are 63 or 64 or even 62 and thinking about retirement, that kind of statement doesn't feel like information. It feels like a verdict. It feels like someone just told you that you're about to make a catastrophic mistake. So I did what I always do. I went to the source. I read the research paper the article claimed to rely on. All 24 pages of it. The footnotes. The assumptions. The methodology. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it says and what it absolutely does not say. Because there is a big difference. My name is Robert. On this channel, we talk about retirement, Social Security, Medicare, and how to make confident, informed decisions in your 60s and beyond. I am not a financial advisor or attorney. This is educational information based on current research and publicly available federal rules as of 2026. Always confirm your own situation with a qualified professional before making major decisions. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. How old are you? And what is your biggest retirement concern right now? Claiming Social Security at the right time, healthcare costs, prescription bills, inflation, market volatility, caregiving, or something else? Drop your age and your biggest worry in the comments. I read them, and they matter. Now let's start with what that article actually argued. It walked through the math of Social Security benefit reductions. If your full retirement age is 67, claiming at 62 locks you in at 70% of your full benefit. At 63, roughly 75%. At 64, about 80%. At 65, about 86.7%. At 66, about 93.3%. The reduction schedule is not perfectly linear. The increase from 64 to 65 is larger than the increase from 63 to 64. So the article labeled age 64 as a kind of no man's land. You've already waited past 62 and 63, but you're still meaningfully below full retirement age. On the surface, that sounds logical. But here's where nuance matters. The article cited a 2019 paper called The Retirement Solution Hiding in Plain Sight, published by United Income. The study analyzed about 2,000 real households using data from the University of Michigan's Health and Retirement Study. They ran up to 486,000 future financial scenarios per household. Nearly 1.1 billion total simulations. This was not a casual blog post. It was serious modeling. And here's what the study actually found. About 57% of retirees would have built more lifetime wealth if they had delayed claiming until age 70. Only about 6.5% of retirees would have been better off claiming before 64, and yet more than 70% of people claim before 64. That's the real finding. The study did not say age 64 is the worst age. It said that many Americans claim earlier than what would maximize projected lifetime wealth. And here is the crucial detail most headlines skip. The study defined optimal as the claiming age that maximizes the probability of not running out of money over a lifetime across thousands of simulated scenarios. That includes investment returns, tax rules, spending patterns, longevity estimates, inflation assumptions. It was not simply asking, which age gives you the biggest Social Security check? It was modeling entire household balance sheets. And there was one massive assumption baked into the model. It held retirement age fixed. If someone retired at 62 and the model recommended delaying Social Security until 70, the simulation assumed they would fund 8 full years of expenses from their investment portfolio. The paper itself acknowledges that this assumption creates a bias toward delaying, because it assumes you have sufficient savings to bridge that gap safely. That's a big assumption. Let me make this real with numbers. Imagine you retire at 62 with $350,000 saved. You need $40,000 per year to live. If you delay Social Security to 70 and have no other income, you're withdrawing $40,000 annually from $350,000. That's an 11-12% withdrawal rate. In a market downturn early in retirement, what experts call sequence of returns risk. That can be devastating. By 70, your portfolio could be dramatically reduced. Now compare that to claiming Social Security at 62 and receiving, say, $18,000 per year. Now you only need $22,000 from your portfolio. That's closer to a 6% withdrawal rate. Still elevated, but far less dangerous. In this case, claiming early reduces stress on your portfolio. And that changes everything. Now here's where emotion enters the equation. The United Income study included one striking line. 99% of households that delayed claiming saw their investment balances decline during their 60s. Even if the math favored waiting long term, almost everyone would watch their account shrink before it paid off. And that matters. Behavioral finance research shows that people experience losses more intensely than gains. Watching your savings drop year after year while waiting for a bigger Social Security check can be psychologically painful, even if it's mathematically optimal. Now let's step back and look at what Americans actually do. Roughly 25% claim right at 62. Another 40% claim between 63 and 65. About 30% wait until full retirement age. Less than 10% wait until 70. So half of retirees claim before full retirement age. Is that because they're financially illiterate? No. Survey data tells a different story. MassMutual and nationwide surveys show that roughly 38% of early claimers later say they wish they had waited. But over half of early claimers say they claimed due to financial necessity. Another 30% cite health issues or job loss. That's not ignorance. That's constraint. This is where Medicare enters the conversation. Many people leave work before 65 and face a gap before Medicare eligibility. If you retire at 62, you must fund private health insurance until Medicare begins at 65. That cost can be enormous. In 2026, the average Affordable Care Act premium for someone in their early 60s can easily exceed $700, $900 per month before subsidies. Claiming Social Security early may reduce strain during that bridge period. Once Medicare begins, income planning matters again. Higher income can trigger IRMAA surcharges on Medicare Part B and Part D. In 2026, IRMAA begins when modified adjusted gross income exceeds roughly $109,000 for individuals and $218,000 for couples. If delaying Social Security forces you to withdraw large sums from your portfolio, you could unintentionally push yourself into higher IRMAA brackets 2 years later. And here's something almost nobody talks about. If your income drops due to retirement, divorce, or death of a spouse, you can file Form SSA 44 to request IRMAA reconsideration. That single form can reduce Medicare premiums by thousands per year. Yet most seniors never file it. That's the kind of hidden lever that changes outcomes more than arguing over whether 64 is worst. Now let's talk about married couples. The study found that while 71% of primary earners would benefit from delaying to 70 in wealth-maximizing scenarios, only 35% of secondary earners would. In fact, about 12% of lower-earning spouses would have been better off claiming before 65. Why? Because survivor benefits matter. If the higher earner delays, the surviving spouse receives that higher benefit for life. But the lower earner claiming early may provide income now without significantly reducing long-term household security. Staggered claiming is often powerful. Claiming is not one size fits all. Let me tell you about James and Carol. James earned significantly more during his career. Carol worked part-time for years. Their planner modeled multiple scenarios. Carol claimed at 62. James delayed to 70. They reduced portfolio withdrawals during James's delay years, preserving assets. When James passed unexpectedly at 78, Carol stepped into his larger benefit. Her lifetime security improved. That's nuance. That's planning. Now here's where this connects to other programs many overlook. If income is modest, claiming early may help qualify for programs like Medicare savings programs. These programs can pay the entire Part B premium, over $2,400 per year, and automatically enroll beneficiaries in extra help for prescriptions. Extra Help Caps prescription copays to just a few dollars. Lower income from early claiming combined with reduced portfolio withdrawals may improve eligibility. That's synergy. Social Security timing affects Medicare premiums. Medicare premiums affect cash flow. Cash flow affects SNAP eligibility. SNAP medical expense deductions can increase food benefits. Property tax relief programs may reduce housing costs. These systems connect. And that's the conversation we should be having. Not labeling one age worst. Now, before I reveal the most important takeaway, if this is helping you think more clearly instead of fearfully, like the video and subscribe. Because here's the number one secret almost nobody tells you. The best age to claim Social Security is the age that solves your biggest financial vulnerability. If your vulnerability is longevity, living into your 90s, delaying may be powerful. If your vulnerability is early retirement market risk, claiming earlier may stabilize your plan. If your vulnerability is health, break-even math changes dramatically. If your vulnerability is portfolio depletion, reducing withdrawal pressure matters. If your vulnerability is survivor protection, delaying the higher earner can be critical. There is no universally worst age. There is only misalignment between claiming age and your specific constraints. So instead of asking, is 64 the worst age? Ask, what problem am I solving? Are you maximizing lifetime wealth? Are you protecting a modest portfolio? Are you covering a healthcare gap? Are you preserving survivor income? Are you qualifying for assistance programs? When you frame it that way, the fear dissolves. You move from headlines to strategy. You move from anxiety to analysis. And that shift, from fear to clarity, is where confidence lives. So tell me, based on your situation, what feels right? And what information would help you feel more certain? Retirement planning is not about chasing perfect ages. It's about aligning your income, health, assets, and goals in a way that supports your life. You are not behind. You are not foolish. And you are not alone in this decision. You still have options. And that matters. I'll see you in the next video.